obviously we believe the world is changing a lot. You guys wouldn't be here if you didn't see the same thing. When you look at how you transform your business, Telstra is one of the leading companies as far as completely reinventing their business, consolidating all the different silos, thinking about how to provide a different customer experience, both on the OSS side, the network side, and the BSS side. So we are very fortunate. We thank you for coming and spending a little time talking about the vision of where Telstra sees it going. Obviously with Amdocs, we think it's pretty important to have the right partner, the right plans. Hopefully we think that Telstra, we've got a long-standing relationship, and we'll continue to be able to do pretty exciting things as far as our product vision and our business model in terms of supporting great leading companies like Telstra. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Hugh, and he's the main stage.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. So as Brian said, please interrupt me as I go along. I'll try and, or alternatively, as people often do, they don't interrupt, and I'll give time for questions at the end. As Brian said, yesterday David Thodey, our CEO, talked about the journey we've been on so far, and we've undergone, as a business, a massive transformation. We've effectively retooled the whole business, both the network side and the OSS, BSS side. What we've had to do, of course, is we've had to bring in systems that allow us to treat the customer as an individual, not as a mobile customer, and a PSTN customer, or an internet customer. Systems that allow us to get a hold of customer view, and the systems that allow us to operate, particularly the new IP networks that everyone's using nowadays, which really are sort of the last 10-year introduction. Those are very different from operating a PSTN in terms of activation and assurance, and also billing. So we've been on that journey, but at the same time we're looking at a new journey, which is the one we're facing now. So one of the things we're having to recognize is that customers are faced in reality with increasing complexity of the services they want to use. They actually want to use more and more things, and they want to integrate them into their lives. But at the same time, they expect that complexity to be completely transparent to them. They don't want to know about the underlying complexity, that it's multiple networks, it involves routers in their home and all the other things. They simply want to connect. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that, this overworked term, customer-centric, everyone says they are. That's usually code for meaning they're not, but that's another story. What we're trying to do there is we're trying to recognize that there's certain things that are happening with our customers. The first one is, in a world of infinite information, people want personalization. They want to stop being bombarded with things that are not relevant to them or not interesting to them. So personalization is the first overlay. That means that you've got to actually know a lot about the customer, and you've got to use that knowledge in a way that they're not threatened by. By which I mean, and by the way, someone in the industry will inevitably stuff this up as we go along, and we've seen Form in the UK do this in the past, where they had a default opt-in to their personalization system, and they got everyone pretty excited, not surprisingly. The second thing is that they expect the service to be reliable. Don't make excuses, make it work. So, making things reliable is not that trivial. In fact, if I look at this industry, the value we add as telcos in this industry is about fixing things, because technology inevitably breaks, and our core value is who you're going to call when it breaks, and it's us. So we've got to be able to do that more cost effectively, because as things become more complex, more calls come in, and we can't afford to service those. And then the third thing is transparency. Now, we've done a lot of work recently on what annoys our customers, and there's a whole plethora of things that annoys them. But the thing that annoys them more than anything else, that generates more calls at the call center, is I didn't expect to get a bill like the one you've just sent me, because you didn't make it clear to me that this incurred that charge and this incurred that charge. So being able to deliver that transparency of expectation is going to be extremely important. And then the last aspect of of the new world, the sort of changes in that, is really around channels. So today we have an offline channel, we have an online channel. The two don't meet in the middle. So customers are not interested in how you organize your channels. They're interested in, if I'm doing some research on a new mobile phone on the web, which is a much more preferable way for me to do it because I can get all the details I need. Why can't I just order it online and walk into the store and pick it up at the counter? So that merging of channels is vital. But the other thing that's changed in terms of channels is we used to be a sort of a holistic delivery mechanism ourselves, and the future is much more involvement of third parties. In fact, we're as much going to be an enabler, as much an enabler of third parties delivering to our customers as we are going to deliver our own services. And that third party enablement is another significant challenge because you have to make it easy for them to get into your capabilities. At the same time, you have to protect yourself. So that's kind of the new world. Just to sort of give you a sample of the types of things that we're thinking of from a service perspective, what are customers actually going to do with us? The first thing is, if I look at the consumer world, there are two very big things going on there. The one is what I'll call rich communications. This is about connecting with people through video calling. Now, video calling is a bit like the abominable snowman, much talked about but never seen. But in fact, its time has come. And there's a statistic for Skype that something like 40% of those Skype calls today are actually video enabled. So the consumer is being introduced to video calling. But the fact is, and I'll come back to this when I talk about business services, that video calling today is very, very specific, fragmented. You can make a Skype to a Skype call, that's it. And in the business world, you can make a telepresence to a telepresence call, or a Polycom to a Polycom call, and none of these things actually merge and synthesize across the customer. So the expectation is that you'll be sitting at your TV watching a show, and someone will call you, and the expectation is you'll get an alert on the screen, you'll be able to pause the TV that you're watching, and to be able to open a video window, high definition, low latency, high clarity with the person calling, and conduct that conversation, and if necessary share, sitting with your pad on your desk, on your lap, as Gen Y does nowadays. It used to be a PC, but soon will be a pad. You'll actually be able to share information, pass photos back and forth, all within the same context of the call, all without having to think about how do I now actually share that photograph. A button will appear on your iPad or your iPad or whatever it is, and send off the photograph. So that's the sort of richness of the communications. I've always said to everyone, this industry is a journey where you can recreate reality at a distance. Until we actually get to that point, the journey's not over. And I'm absolutely sure we won't get to that point in my lifetime. So it's, the journey's got a long way to go. I hope. That's the first thing. The second thing is that it's become a bit of a truism, but entertainment is now networked in the sense not of broadcast networks, but of broadband networks. So we've made a fundamental shift over the last 2 years from what we call web-centric broadband to media-centric broadband. And web-centric broadband was highly statistically multiplexed because web traffic is bursty. Media-centric broadband is very sustained traffic. And that's why governments all over the world are getting very excited about broadband deployments. And there's one government in particular at the far end of the earth who's incredibly excited about very big plans. But that whole notion of delivering media-centric broadband is going to change the nature of pretty much everything we do. It's important for the rich communications, but the real driver is going to be, from a financial point of view, is it's going to be this networked entertainment. So the catchwords of the teens are going to be high definition and on demand. High definition video on demand is really where we're driving at, and being able to integrate that into the rest of the services. So from a customer point of view, that means content from anywhere. I want to watch what I want to watch. Okay, the suits in Madison Avenue have ensured that's not going to happen because all the geographical restrictions around that. I want to watch it on any device that I want to watch it on. That includes being able to commute on the train, watch it on my iPhone, come home, pause the iPhone, go and have dinner, go into the lounge room, reconnect the iPhone, and just say play it on my TV, and have it continue from the same point, re-rendered for a high definition experience on a big screen as opposed to a small screen. It's going to include the best use case of all is kids. We've got to go and see grandma. And, oh, Dad, I don't want to leave the TV. So, you know, pause the TV, get in the car, just carry on playing it on the back seat of on the screen on the back of the front seat of the car. So it's that ability to pull all these things together and have them work seamlessly with each other. So that's the consumer world. On the business world, we're about to see a transformation of the workplace. Through what Cisco coined the term unified communications, which is not unified communications at all, but we've coined our own term for it. We call it immersive collaboration, because the notion should be, if I want to connect with someone, irrespective of what they choose to use as their mechanism for connecting, device, network, inside the home, outside the home, inside a corporate firewall, outside, we should be able to bring these things together as seamlessly as we do a telephone call. So if I'm sitting in a telepresence room inside Telstra and I need to call Andrew, and Andrew happens to be on an iPhone in Barcelona, I should be able to just pick Andrew's name out of the thing, say I want to video connect with Andrew, I want to be able to share documents with him and pull it all together. And Andrew should be able to interact sitting down at the back of the room with his iPhone. Not only that though, there's the whole world that goes into the knowledge management of interaction. So the ability to actually record that conversation, transcribe it, search it, bring it back when you need it, that's going to be, and add artificial intelligence on it. So just to sort of illustrate what I mean, my vision for the future, as I get older, I can't remember yesterday, which is becoming increasingly true. My vision for the future is one day I'll have on my person a camera and a microphone hidden somewhere in my glasses or in my suit or whatever it is, and it will record everything I see and hear. And it will send it over to a database in the cloud somewhere, and I'll be walking down the street and I'll see someone in this camera and I'll say to myself, I know this person but I can't remember their name.
That's like I'm always saying I wish I had the Pensieve from Harry Potter, sort of the same idea.
Well, I had it before J.K. Rowling, by the way. Yeah. I can show you publications in the 90s where I wrote this vision. Yeah.
That'd be great.
You know, some of the twists on it, unvoiced speech. You don't want to say, who the hell is this? You know, the Japanese have worked on a system for unvoiced speech where you put a transducer on your neck and it will actually detect the neurons that cause speech and will therefore allow you to go and we'll pick it up. Now, you can understand why they do it if you're standing on a Tokyo subway and you want to have a conversation, but it's things like that, the artificial recognition of being able to do face recognition, all those pieces are coming together. But and that will have a transformation in productivity. So to get that, you need a whole new set of services which to build are immensely complex, otherwise they wouldn't have happened, but to use have to be immensely simple.